Mr. Niquette, congratulations. We keep meeting like this all the time, and pretty interesting. It seems like every day there's another announcement, another press conference, and today we're fortunate to be able to have two other members added to the cabinet. First of all, I'm very pleased to announce that David Goodman has been active in politics for a very long time. I would describe him as a workhorse in the state legislature, involved in a myriad of issues from legal reform to construction reform to insurance reform. He has been involved in many aspects of the activity in the Ohio General Assembly. In fact, he demonstrated an ability to bring different parties together on a bill that brought the ACLU and the law enforcement community together in an area, a very difficult area of DNA, to make sure that we would be in a position to be able to have justice. David has been very passionate about wanting to serve in this administration. His whole focus, as it has been expressed to my friends and expressed to me, has been one of job creation. The Department of Commerce is involved in a tremendous amount of regulation, and one of the things that you all understand that we will be doing, and one of the first executive orders that I will issue on Monday when we can drop the elect from my title, is the need to have a coordinated effort among all the cabinet, working with the small business community and the Chamber of Commerce to repeal burdensome rules and regulations. One of the areas that David will be involved in regulating is financial services. The financial services industry in this state is an industry that can offer us great potential for economic growth. We talk about financial services, we talk about all the lending institutions, we talk about the insurance industry. There will be a need for David to coordinate all of his activities with our Department of Development, our Jobs Ohio program, and a need for him to be able to coordinate with the insurance, the Director of Insurance, who will be now announced shortly, and to have a real focus and meeting with all the diverse groups that he will be in the middle of regulating to make sure that while we have proper regulation to maintain health and safety and what is in the public interest, we clearly don't want to be in a position, as we have been in this state, where the regulations have been burdensome and have put us in a position of where we have not realized the kind of economic growth that is absolutely critical for the state of Ohio. We're joined today, it's a real pleasure for me to be joined by the Croatian ambassador to the United States. She and I just had a wonderful meeting. She was elected to the Congress in Croatia, and she has been appointed, in the ministry. She's done a lot of things. Someday she may end up being either president or prime minister. As I understand it, prime minister is where the real power is. I told her to go for prime minister. And my wife came in the room, and she looked at her and said, "I wasn't quite expecting what I'm seeing here." And I said, "Sweetheart, don't you realize that all Croatians are beautiful?" Ambassador, thanks for being with us. She understands the issue of economic growth because that's what they struggle with every day. And David Goodman has pledged to be I know he's going to be a very hardworking, very energetic representative for the state of Ohio, who's going to rationalize things and also bring common sense. So it's very great for me to be able to name David. And then, of course, Chris Money with Youth Services. My friends who have known Chris Money said it's all money with her. Okay, I call her Money Penny, and you just spend 5 minutes with a lady, and you begin to understand that she's an extremely talented and extremely unique individual. I said, "How does somebody like you?" And when she speaks here, you'll get it right off the bat. And we have a lot of, must be some of your co-workers who are here today on Saturday. Did you hear New Hollow, or are you just too old for that kind of rock? But Chris has been in the prison system. She's a warden at the Marion Correctional Institution. She's been the acting director of the Department of Youth Services. very difficult jobs that she's had. And when you talk to her, she's so pleasant and she's so light and uplifting. And I said, what the heck? How did you ever find your way into the prisons? I mean, of all the things that you could possibly do. And she said, you know, sometimes God calls us to do things that we don't want to do, only to find out it's what we're supposed to do. I think I can really relate to that. She's really a reformer. They have closed some of the youth facilities in an effort to put our young people in a better setting. As she said to me yesterday, we don't want to take young people who have made mistakes and put them with young people who have a very violent record and a violent past. It just makes these kids worse. And the other thing I mean, it's progressive. She thinks there's more work that can be done in dealing with the total number of facilities. She's very close to Gary Moore, who runs is our director for corrections. She has a symbiotic relationship with Gary, where they can work together on back office operations, reform-oriented. Gary's got all kinds of ideas. She's got ideas. And instead of being in a position where people who are in charge keep telling you no, we're going to be a group of people that are going to tell her yes. She also said one other thing. She talked to me about the impact of Kairos. Kairos is, over the years we've become familiar with prison ministries, particularly because of the efforts of Chuck Colson, who created the prison ministries. In fact, that's its name. And it's a good organization, but as she said to me, Kairos is a very, very effective organization because you just don't come, have a church service, and then they disappear. They come back and back and back, and they give families hope, and they give people who think their lives have been ruined an opportunity for a fresh start. And she said that these activities have made a huge difference in the outcomes that she's experienced while she has been in the prisons. You know, my sense of this, whether it's prisons or whether it's drug addiction or, I think the belief and hope in it may not be it for everybody, but the belief and hope in a higher power, when coupled with the hard work that one must do to fix their lives, it gives somebody something to shoot for that I think is very important. I know I've mentioned this faith question now a number of times since we've been making announcements. We're not turning this into a religious revival, okay? That's not what we're here to do. But we are here to see if we can solve some of a human being's most intractable problems with solutions that can work. And if faith in a higher power can contribute to the rehabilitation and the saving of a human life, I'm all for it. So I think she's been very progressive, and I'm very excited about the potential reform, change, hope, reformation that we can have in the Department of Youth Services. So without any further ado, we're going to have gentlemen first because that's the way it was written. So,
first of all, thank you very much for believing in me. And there's so many people in this room who I ought to thank, but I don't want to name you all because there's so many of you for believing in me and knowing that I can do this job. And I'm looking so forward to doing it. A very important shout out goes to my wife Heather, who is allowing me to do this, and also because today she's with around 20 children running around in my house because we have the play date from hell that I'm not at because 4 days ago I didn't know I would be here standing before you to do it with the opportunity to do this terrific job. I was working at Battelle, thought I had moved on from the public sector and had made the transition into the private sector and was looking forward to working with that great institution for commercialization and innovation purposes for the state of Ohio. And I got a call from the governor's office to have me come and see him yesterday. And he asked me if I wanted to join the team. And if it wasn't anybody else, the answer would have been no. But because it's John Kasich, and because I absolutely believe in this man, who is the right man for this time, this difficult time in the state of Ohio, to move us forward. He's a brash, innovative leader who I've watched for many, many years, and I am looking forward to getting on the bus and helping him helping him move Ohio forward in a way that I don't think we've ever seen in the history of this state. I'm looking forward to doing it at the Department of Commerce, because over the 15 years that I've been in public service, I've worked with small and large businesses on reforms such as tax reform for the state of Ohio, commercial construction reform, tort reform, doing things to try to make the world a better place for small businesses and people who want to create jobs and take care of their families. And I look forward to being able to do that as the director of the Department of Commerce. And what better place to do something like that? We have problems in Ohio. We do need to work with our banks so that they can have some predictability in the regulatory process, so that they can begin to loan money to small businesses so that they can create jobs. Right now they're not doing it the way they ought to be doing it. We should be helping them so that they can do those types of things, so that people can go to work in Ohio and we can compete again. We need to be doing things with regard to the foreclosure issues in the state of Ohio. Loan modification. You talked about loan modification during one of your press conferences. We should be looking into those issues and seeing what we can be doing with our banks to get them and give them the incentives to work with folks who are in tough economic straits so that they can stay in their houses. And loan modification is something we ought to be looking at and seeing if we can be doing for the state of Ohio. The bottom line is everything is on the table. And regardless of who you are, if it's good for Ohio, your ox can be gored, and because we're going to be moving forward, and we're going to be doing whatever it takes to get us on the right track. And let me say this, when I have been a state senator where I was able to make whatever decision I wanted to make, I am no longer a state senator. I am a director serving in this man's administration. He is the CEO, he is the coach, and he is the quarterback. And I am looking forward to serving on the front lines, blowing holes, so you can move that football forward for the people of the state of Ohio.
I might tell you to go deep.
And you will believe in me, and I will catch that ball. But it's also apropos that this is Youth Day here in Ohio, and here at the State House. And we have all these wonderful children here. And I want to give a shout out to New Hollow. They really are quite a good band.
They're a good band.
I have to admit, I like them. So I won't, I'm not going to go get any CDs or anything. But I'm looking forward to serving in this administration, and I am going to blow holes open for you. You make the calls, and
Get it done together.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you.